NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out, no house payments for 2 months. It's SaveWithConrad.com.
Hey guys, need to call a quick time out here. Wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my listeners over at OU didn't know for a while now about all the cool things happening over at adsfreeshows.com.
The wrestling wars are heating up as David Crockett and Conrad revisit March of 1985 on The Book. Vince has brought WrestleMania 1 to life, while Jim Crockett Promotions is preparing to be back on TBS television.
And you got Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard on top, Magnum TA and Ivan Koloff for the U.S. title, $5,200 at the gate. And meanwhile, while that show's happening, WrestleMania is becoming a thing. And the wrestling wars are about to heat up because just 1 week from now, you guys are back on TBS.
Former WWE executive John Filippelli sits down with Conrad on an all-new edition of The Insiders and discusses his tumultuous relationship with Bruce Pritchard during his time with the company.
Vince was trying to, I think there were times where he tried to sort of get us to try and work together better than we were. And when I was quite candid about how I felt about him, about that I didn't appreciate him undermining us or me, and I would have no part of it. And I told Vin, if he doesn't straighten his act out, I don't want him, he's got to go. Either he goes or I go.
Ad-free shows members recently got to chat live with the Enforcer, Arn Anderson, and hear stories of legends like the late, great Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Sharpest, funniest, wittiest guy there's ever been on this earth. I could look at Bobby and go, hey, Bobby, you got a bump on your neck. Before I could get neck out of my mouth, he had to come back. Boom, boom, boom. And just hilarious.
That's just a small taste of what we got waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from, see for yourself why Ads-Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adsfreeshows.com.
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Hello and welcome to Arn. This is Paul Bromwell, and today I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of the Spine Buster. Damn it, you know who he is. He's the man who's not scared to unload not just one, but both barrels if he deems necessary. And no, this isn't a Blue Chew spot. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the Enforcer. He's Double A. He's Arn Anderson. Arn, how are you this week, my friend?
Excellent, excellent. Just wearing my tribute to the Oakland Raiders colors today, silver and black.
You know what? I love it. I love that look. I need to get one of those. I also am sporting a Four Horsemen t-shirt. Might as well talk about it. We love the Four Horsemen stuff. You have 2 jackets on the way. I have a jacket on the way and a new Horseman hat. And man, that's all everybody's talking about. We just had a thing with ad-free shows, and it was everyone talking about either the new jacket they got or the one they have ordered. And this merch is a hit, my friend.
Well, it's quality stuff, and that's what we were looking for all this time. And we just had to have the right person in charge of it. Thank you, Paulie. And it's good stuff, man. Really, really high quality stuff. Something you'll be proud to wear out in public.
Nah, man, but I love that symbol of excellence t-shirt with the Four Horsemen and with that 4 Roman numeral on the shirt. But, buddy, listen, it's been a little while since you and I sat down and recorded together. And since we did, Revolution for AEW went down in San Francisco. And I wanted to talk to you about the MJF Bryan Danielson match. Dude, it went 60 minutes and then some. MJF retains, but what a hell of a match. The social media has been abuzz about that one.
Well, sometime back, I was asked about that match. And, MJF's pretty much demeanor just in its entirety. Who is the guy? What is the guy? Is he full of crap? Can he back it up? And when you put yourself in an Ironman match, you're going to either achieve huge goals or you're going to die, because there's very few people in this industry right now that can wrestle an hour and wrestle with the intensity that those two guys, Bryan Danielson and MJF, put on display. It had everything. And I put a challenge out to MJF. I don't even know if he heard about it, a while back. And I said, if you want to be who you claim you are, not only do you last in this kind of match, but you excel. And he did. And it's easier to talk the crap that he talks when you back it up, when you're faced with a insurmountable almost situation, and that's defending against Bryan Danielson, who's been on a huge roll as of late. And it's almost like he's trying to prove to himself who he is on a nightly basis, and it shows in his matches. Well, they tore it up. It paid huge dividends, and you have a guy that, whether you like him or you don't like him, and that's always going to be subjective. You got a champion you can look at and go, well, the guy deserves to be where he's at. Congratulations, MJF. Now, if you want to be an asshole, be one.
You can be an asshole, and buddy, he did, man. They tore it down, and I'd love to hear one day Danielson's take on the whole thing. And but man, I had the privilege and opportunity to be there. Got to be there with my son, and the crowd was electric, especially when they went to overtime. It went to another level, and he talked his shit, but he backed it up, and it was good stuff. So had a lot of fun there. Hey, before we jump into this week's show, which we're going to get into, you, my friend, at the end of this month, speaking of big events, are going to be at WrestleCon the end of this month, you and Brock. And that's a big weekend for you guys, and it's a big weekend and big opportunity for a lot of those that are listening here and a lot of wrestling fans that make their way out for WrestleMania or WrestleCon and all the stuff that happens out there this weekend. But I know you're looking forward to it.
WrestleCade is probably grown into one of the biggest events of the entire year. Now WrestleCon, being in LA, has a chance, I think, to even surpass that, believe it or not, because people are coming in, obviously, for different shows and, from all over the world. And it gives me an opportunity at the end of each one of those signing sessions that go anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, man, to shake a lot of hands and thank a lot of people and hear a lot of stories and all those things that I am appreciative of. And when it's all said and done at the end of the day, I just kind of go to my room and throw on some baggy shorts and just go, man, God, I love these people. And they make it all happen. They make it all possible. And wrestling fans are the lifeblood of what we do, and LA is going to be off the hook. Brock is going to be Google-eyed. I can't wait to see the look on his face.
It's so cool, too. And you know what I really like, Arn, and just to be able for you to experience it and see it through your son's eyes. How much fun is that for you as a father?
Just being there with him and seeing people say nice things, about him to his face and let them know that they truly are watching him on the YouTube channel or wherever it may be. And just to see, his respect for them, which, that's the only way it can be. It's got to be reciprocal, them to us and us to them. And it's just, he's a good kid and he's learning and he's getting better all the time. And to get to be a part of this, it is not lost on him the magnitude of sitting at that table with all the talent that's going to be lined up throughout that hotel. And to be part of that is a blessing and it is a privilege. And it's not something that anybody is owed. And he is, fully aware of all that.
Man, I love your genuineness, Arn. And Brock, he's up and coming, getting it done in the ring. And listen, this is your opportunity, fans. Go out, support Arn, support Brock. Check him out, WrestleCon, a big weekend out in LA, end of this month. And so, Arn, you and I, as we transition away from that, we talk a lot about the Horsemen. We're sporting our Horsemen T-shirts. But today, we're going to talk about another faction that you are a part of, one that, their legacy still continues on to this day. There's a lot of guys in my age range, guys and girls that remember the Dangerous Alliance and still talk about it in admiration. And we last week talked about Ravishing Rick Rude joining WCW at the behest of Paulie Dangerously with the intention of bankrupting the company. That was the big promo. And he made sure that all the WCW fans knew he was coming after Sting, as why not? That's the baby face. That was the man for WCW in 1991. But in November 1991, a number of events took place that ultimately led to the creation of the Dangerous Alliance. And man, this is so much fun for me. I could not wait to get into this topic with you. It happens on the November 23rd edition of World Championship Wrestling, so we're going to get to that on this episode. But November 91 begins for you in singles action against one of the best in-ring workers. You've talked about him over again on this show, and a real-life friend of yours, Barry Windham. And so for continuity, we want to point out this match was recorded prior to the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view because Barry's not wearing that cast on his arm. We talked about it last week's episode where the door gets slammed on his hand and he's all casted up, but he's not wearing the cast from that attack from the Enforcers. And we're going to start off with our first clip of the week as far as what happened between two old friends in the ring. It's on NWA Pro, November 2nd, 1991. Arn, you ready to dig in and check it out?
It's going to be interesting.
All right, here we go. It's you and Barry, NWA Pro, November 2nd, 1991.
Elbow to the face. Side of the head, Windham. That's what you call improvisation. And Windham using the only thing he had left in the upper body, that right arm, sending Anderson in. Sleeper hold. What is going to be Anderson's counter to this, if any? He is weakening. Now remember, he still has a weak leg here. Anderson came out of it. Sending Windham face first. Can you believe that? I've never seen a counter move out of a sleeper quite like that from Arn Anderson. Back up again they go. One more time, these two warriors. It's the back of the head of Anderson into the forehead of Windham, and both are down and maybe out. If both men cannot get up at a 10 count, it's going to be considered a draw. But Windham is the first man up. The match continues, a headbutt. Fans, it's action like this you'll see live at the UIC Pavilion next Saturday, November 9th. Foot to the face. I don't know how Windham got that foot up in time, but he did. And now both men tired, hurt, but still going on. Anderson down to one knee. He came back again. Look at him. He'll not stay out of that corner. He goes back against Windham again. The lariat. This could be it. It is not. It's a foot on the rope, and Randy Anderson saw it, and he was looking for it, as he should, that close to the ropes. Power slam. 2 count. Referee may be out of position there just a bit. I don't know if he'd had a 3 count or not had Anderson been closer. Anderson being the referee. Arn now for the pile driver. No, sir. Sunset flip. 1, 2, 3. Got him. Way held the ropes. Anderson got him, but he held the ropes. All right, wait a minute. Ron Simmons is out here. He's telling the referee held the ropes. And Randy Anderson says, begin the match again. He rolls him up. He He pins Arn Anderson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, Barry Windham.
We take you now to WCW this week.
So, Arn, it looks like your old buddy, Randy Anderson's the referee. You got him as a buddy. You got Barry Windham, your buddy. You got Ron Simmons, your buddy, but none of them your buddies at the end of that match.
I think I got robbed.
I think you did too, man. Ron Simmons is, what is he, a de facto official? What's going on here?
I think he came down threatened somebody, and I don't know that I wouldn't have went along with whatever he said anyway.
Pee-wee was like, sure, Ron Simmons, you're right. Let's restart it.
Yeah, he's not going to argue that point. Pee-wee was a damn good referee, too.
I know, and he's a longtime friend of yours, for sure. So listen, Barry had, just for a little history lesson here again, Barry had worked heel all the way through the July pay-per-view, and following the loss to Luger, the company started to slowly turn him babyface by having him assume that role in some rematches with Luger. And what better way, Arn, to solidify that creative direction than to have Ron Simmons make that argument to the referee that you cheated, my friend. Arn, you had wrestled and teamed with Barry a lot up to this point. For you, we know you loved working with him as a Horseman. Do you believe Barry was a more believable heel or babyface?
One of the best baby faces of all time. It was a natural.
So you're going babyface with Barry.
I am. I mean, he was, not that he wasn't a great heel too, but he just was more natural in that babyface setting. He just was. He had so many great babyface skills. You know, it's a guy 6'6", and he just got around that ring like a gazelle.
Yeah. His in-ring work, his psychology, he could pull off both. But you're right. I mean, to me, I love to cheer Barry Windham. He had those, and I think it was the skill set, and it was what he could do in the ring. And like you said, his promos, I remember us watching together some of his early days in the Horsemen and seeing how he progressed in his promo skills through that time too. He just got better and better.
Well, 6'6", blonde hair, tanned, riding around in a white Porsche. There's not much to not love. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, a night in the ring with Barry Windham is a night off, according to the Enforcer. But a night partying with the man, billed from Sweetwater, Texas, is an entirely different issue. Like his in-ring work, Barry's skills at the local watering hole pushed his colleagues to their limits after the matches, and the following day, Windham never missed a step in the ring. Most of us don't have those recuperative powers, and I don't know about you, Arn, but if I was to party with Barry Windham on the road, I would need some quality sleep. High quality, deep, REM sleep. And the best way to sleep is cold, Arn. You and I have talked about it. Our listeners have heard about it, and it's with Sleep Me. We know how important it is to have a good night's sleep, don't we?
It's not a mystery. You know, line up 25 people and say, do you want the room and the bed to be cool, or do you want it to be hot? What's the count going to be?
I know.
24-1?
It's got to be. It's got to be like 99.9% want it cold, right?
Yeah, because once you get rolled up in the covers, it's going to warm up to whatever temperature you desire. If not, cut the gimmick down a little more, right?
Listen, you can always take off the covers or put more covers on. You have options, but you don't have options if it's the room's hot or the mattress is hot, and that's where Sleep Me can make the difference with the mattress. Dude, they make the Uller and Cube sleep systems hydro-powered. Temperature control mattress toppers that fit over your existing mattress. You have the ability to change the temperature right there and make it ideal for you. And for extra comfort, extra enjoyment, they make the chilly blanket. It's a weighted blanket, Arn, that can be paired with a control unit for the ultimate sweat-free sleep. And here's how you can find out more and get the right thing for you. Go to sleep.me/Arn to learn more and save 25% off the purchase of any new Dock Pro, Uller, or Cube sleep system. This offer is available exclusively for Arn listeners and only for a limited time. That's sleep.me/Arn to take advantage of our exclusive discount and wake up refreshed just like the Enforcer and Paulie B do every single day. Arn, clearly, even though both Simmons and Windham failed to defeat Luger for the world title, the company still thought of them as top baby faces, and both enjoyed that positioning for the next year. We're going to talk about it as we continue to cover the months of your career. And these two veterans were no stranger to top billing by this time in their careers. The company also had made advances in developing younger talent as well. We've talked about it. We've talked about Flying Bryant. We've talked about the natural Dustin Rhodes. But here's another guy that we're going to talk about a little bit more, and that's stunning Steve Austin. Young to the business, both men, him and Dustin, benefited from the strength of WCW's roster at this time. For example, on November 2nd edition of World Championship Wrestling, the Enforcers and Stunning Steve took on Rhodes, Windham, and Michael Hayes in a 6-man tag. And, buddy, as you've come to expect, we have a clip of this one. Again, this match was recorded before the pay-per-view, so Windham, again, does not have that hand casted. Are you ready to check this match out?
Certainly am.
All right, November 6, 1991, clip 2 from WCW.
Good counter move. Drop toe hold by Dustin. Front face lock. Countered that quickly. Wrist lock. Side headlock. What chain offensive wrestling here. Missed the elbow. And now Dustin tried to roll him up, but Austin held on the ropes. And Dustin caught him with a clothesline. Up and over he went. Judgment call here, obviously. And Dustin will not be disqualified. Man, we had some controversy in that Luger-Simmons match in the second fall this past Sunday. You know, I've often equated the referee's judgment call regarding taking someone over the top rope a lot like pass interference in football. It's strictly in the eye of the official making the call. Certainly didn't give Ron Simmons any break this past Sunday. Austin now, the shoulder downstairs on Dustin Rhodes. And Austin out of the way, caught him from the left side with a clothesline. Very, very competitive 6-man tag team event. Here comes the enforcer, Arn Anderson. Missed with that left hand. And Dustin got behind him. Atomic drop, and their heads cracked. Oh, my. The back of Anderson's head smacked the forehead of Dustin Rhodes. Windham and Hayes trying to get the kid to make a tag. He's dazed right now. Austin's in legally, and so is Michael Hayes now. Hayes wanted his partner, Jimmy Jam Garvin, to be in this match, but the enforcers didn't want to have anything to do with that. Left hands. Oh, Hayes now. And here comes Barry Windham in. And Windham's going right for Arn Anderson. DDT by Hayes. A DDT by Michael Hayes. Referee trying to break up the fight outside. And there's Lady Blossom. She's put those knucks on his right hand. Hayes is knocked down. We've seen her do this time and time again. And wait a minute, there's Jimmy Jam Garvin. He's got the knucks. He tossed them to Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes has the knucks on his hand. And boom! Out go the lights of the television champion. Rhodes puts Hayes on top. Here comes the referee. Well, Garvin put the brass knucks down on his pants there.
The winners.
And who's going to search
the
him?
team of Barry Windham, Michael
Fans,
Hayes,
we'll
and
see you
Dustin
tomorrow
Rhodes.
on the main event, the 6-man championship, tomorrow on TBS. So long, everybody.
Oh, Jimmy Garvin cracking me up there. Just the whole presence, his whole persona.
Peeping Tom, I think it might be.
He was something. Listen, I got to say this. I was watching that match. Watching Dustin and watching Steve Austin. There's no question. And guys, this is the clip, if you're going back and watch this, especially on YouTube, where you can just see they ooze wrestling talent and skill just in that short clip that we watched.
There was about a 15-move sequence of chain wrestling right there towards the beginning of it. Just move, reversal, reversal, move, reversal. That was just flawless. You can
So
already see that these guys just get it.
So when you see these guys, as far as, hey, they're natural talents, what would a veteran like you, Arn, maybe say, hey, what's a strategy to help with them elevating their game to the next level?
Well, when you got a racehorse like that, you let them run.
Okay.
And you let them run a few times, and then you figure out there's a point somewhere in there that they can slow it down a tick or two and sell whatever's happening for just literally a second or two, and if you did exactly what they did in that sequence and just slowed it down just a touch, maybe one reversal of the arm, just let it out before you reverse it instead of just flowing right through it. That's the things you pick up when you get more seasoned and you become a veteran. You learn to slow down so that everything you do has a meaning. It has a consequence other than just rolling through. It's a good thing to have, and not many guys fit in this category, but Austin was in the Ivan Koloff category for me. He just kept coming after you, and you literally had to fight him off for the entire match. And it's a good habit to have. It's a good group to be grouped with. Ivan Koloff was an animal. Steve Austin's an animal.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and it's not a very long limb, but I would say it's safe to assume both these guys would probably be very coachable at this point in their career, right? As far as just, hey, what'd you think? Is there anything I can work on? Was that kind of their mindset? Because, man, their careers took off.
Austin had a direction. He had a style in his head, and he was pretty much – that same style would carry him through his entire career. These guys didn't have a whole lot of time in the business at that point. I don't know, what would it be, maybe 3 years?
Yeah, Austin was in world class, had worked in there for a little bit prior to coming here, but still, yeah, not a ton of time in the business.
So, in those days we kind of had a deal 4 to 6 years. If you had aptitude and the right attitude for this business and could work every day, you were be in a position to have anything thrown at you that they wanted to, and you'd be able to handle it. So they were still under that window if you put any faith in that.
Well, listen, you and as we move on from that match, you and Larry would work a lot of tags to build to the clash, which we're going to get to. And before we get there, though, I want to take a look at one other match because it helps to move this whole story forward. Following Ron Simmons' interference in the match that we had watched earlier with you and Barry, a tag match aired on November 9th of NWA Pro. Again, this match was recorded prior to Havoc. I know I keep saying that, but listen, there's no cast on his hand, so it's important for you guys to remember that. Our third clip of the week is when two top baby faces challenged the best tag team in WCW. That's right, the Enforcers. So we're going to take a look at this. This is November 9th, 1991.
Like it. Jerk! Anderson in with a left hand. And Windham had the right idea early to work on the left arm, but that's gone by the way of the fallen soldier. Ron Simmons, oh, wow! What a right hand! Anderson made the tag. He's trying to prevent Simmons from making the tag, and he's successful in that. Zbyszko, the fresh man, back in, but Simmons comes up fighting. Scoop slam. Lateral press now. Simmons kicked out. Man, he is so strong. Irish whip in. He was a nose tackle at Florida State, not a punter, but he had good form there. But Ron, quite frankly, needs to make the tag. Zbyszko made the tag, and Simmons did too. Windham and Anderson are the legal men in this exchange. The former partners in there once again. Windham really on fire. Right hand down goes double A. Flying lariat. That may be all, but Zbyszko interrupted the count. And Simmons just really nailed Anderson. And Windham, Anderson's getting the belt. Zbyszko being set up for the superplex. Windham thinks he's legal. Bill Wall. Zbyszko wasn't even the legal man. Anderson hit Windham in the face with a belt, and the champions are going to win it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here are your winners, the Enforcers.
The championship belt right in the face, and the Enforcers win a very controversial match, and we'll be back right after this.
Well, Arn, there you go. And the Enforcers win, and they cheat to win and pick up the victory, and they cheated, namely you. You were the one who cheated, smacking him in the head with the belt shot. But JR, man, he does a great job on commentary, reminding the audience that less than 6 months ago, you and Barry were partners. And there's one thing I want to ask here, and that is that Dusty, he's booking this. Do you think he's trying to protect Ron Simmons a little bit with the finish in this one by having Barry take the total shot to the head?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes just not being the one to get beat on a team that does lose is the only protection you need. And that's what was going on there. Barry wasn't going to kill Barry Windham off to get screwed, get hit in the face with a chunk of steel.
Yeah, and you knew, I mean, listen, we just talked about Havoc. Dusty's in Ron Simmons' corner for that match. So at least for us visually to see, Dusty was a big supporter of Ron. You know, as fans, we see that. And you know he's booking, so makes total sense there. Arn, we're going to, we covered these 3 matches before the Clash of the Champions because I think it's important for all of our listeners to see how critical you and Larry were to the booking at WCW at this time, buddy. Dusty understood that he could put you in the ring with virtually anybody, and on any night, he was going to get a match that delivered. I mean, listen, that trust from the man who gave you your first huge break in the business was something that you had to treasure, Arn.
It's funny, I was just fixing to go back. He put that trust in me at the end of '85. And I don't think that ever wavered. I don't think there was ever a night that he wrote my name down against anybody's and thought, well, is that a good booking, a bad booking? He knew and trusted that I would do the right thing in every situation. And, you know, having great partners certainly made my job easy.
I want to ask you, you just said having great partners. 2 things before we move to the Clash. First of all, you're getting to work with guys like Ron Simmons and Barry Windham, who are friends of yours. You've talked highly of both of them. You're also getting to wrestle young guys now like Austin and Dustin. How much fun are you having at this point in the business?
The thing that keeps you coming back, Paul, for 40 years is not necessarily the notoriety, the recognition, not even the money so much. It's loving to wrestle, loving to entertain, loving to perform. And to me, there's no bigger power trip. There's nothing more gratifying than walking through a curtain, thousands of people who are already rumbling, and wave your maestro stick and take them anywhere you want them, and come back through that curtain when it's all said and done and accomplished what you had sat in the locker room and envisioned before it ever happened. And you come back through the curtain and everybody's smiling. The audience are screaming their brains out until you disappear through the curtain. That's what keeps you coming back. And the ability to perform at a high level, that's the thrill of it all.
You're getting to wrestle guys you like, guys you enjoy working with, friends of yours, young up-and-comers. You're working for a company that you're enjoying that's more around you get to be home. Well, you've said it with your wife and kids. And plus the bonus of all this, Arn, you're on a featured money-drawing position here on the card. It's tag champs with Larry. It just feels like this is a really good time in your career.
It really was. Really was. And I was having the time of my life.
That's awesome. Well, listen, the Clash of Champions 17 has arrived, and we're going to dig into this a little bit. It's the Civic Center in Savannah, Georgia, November 19th, 1991. 6,922 fans attended the event, and it drew a 4.32 rating on TBS. 4.32, Arn. I mean, you know, they talk about ratings nowadays. That's pretty freaking good.
Stout.
Yeah, stout.
And there was a big universe out there. So that was out of a lot of homes.
It was.
That rating.
This event is special for a couple reasons. On this class, you were scheduled to face Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham, but instead, because of Barry's injury, Dustin would need an adequate substitute. And that substitute, my friend, was the returning Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He had been gone for about 2 years. And we're going to take a look at the clip here. And let's take a look. Clash of the Champions, clip 4.
I'd like to apologize. I'm not going to be able to wrestle tonight because this past week I had reconstructive surgery on my right hand. But I'll tell you two clowns something right now. Dustin Rhodes and I didn't come alone, and I want to introduce Dustin's tag team partner in this World Tag Team title match.
Well, it's going to be a championship matchup. Very unique attire, Tony. And this athlete making his way to the ring. Wow, look at that.
Jim, the first thing, with that get-up, the first thing I think of is maybe there's someone from Japan who's here.
Well, it could be. I know that Anderson and Zbyszko certainly are concerned, and rightfully so. This match is for the WCW World Tag Team Championship.
Now, right now, Anderson and Zbyszko are complaining a great deal to Nick Patrick, the referee. And I'm interested to see, whoa, exactly who that is. If in fact we ever find out. For all we know, it could be a masked man behind him.
Well, Arn Anderson above us, berating us.
We have nothing to do with it.
We have nothing to do with it. That's your problem. You've got to defend the belts. We don't.
Talk to the referee for crying out loud. All right, Dustin going over to his new partner along with Barry Windham.
It's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat!
The Dragon! Ricky the Dragon Steamboat! He has been a World Tag Team Champion on many occasions. It will be Steamboat and Anderson and Zbyszko are going crazy in the ring. This is not what they prepared for, quite obviously. But listen to the ovation that Steamboat is receiving here in Savannah, Georgia.
Unbelievable badgers standing everywhere.
Not Ricky Steamboat.
Not a fan sitting to look at him. Going nuts. What an entrance.
Bear hug. He got this. Man, I tell you, they are punishing the lower back of the Dragon. The pain etched on the face of Steamboat, and now Anderson. Oh, he got wrapped up. Trying to get him in a body scissors. But Anderson now with a counter to a Boston Crab, putting tremendous pressure on the lower back. No wasted movement, and look at again at an illegal assist by Larry Zbyszko. There's Dustin in.
Did not get a tag. Anderson, in executing the Boston Crab, moved to each corner. And Zbyszko's doing it again. He is walking towards the corner. This is great tag team. And I'll tell you what, Steamboat's in major trouble right now.
We've talked about it so many times. Great tag teams will draw an imaginary line diagonally across the ring. They will wrestle the match as much as they can in their half of the ring. And that's what you're seeing right here. This is the classic tag team strategy. This is what you have to employ if you're going to be a champion. Steamboat fighting with everything he has to make a tag. Crawling with every ounce of energy and determination in his body. Zbyszko about to lose control. Dustin almost to make a tag, and their hands touch. He got it. He got it, but oh my, the referee didn't see it.
Anderson saw the tag coming. He got the referee's attention, and it worked.
Referee did not see the tag. Anderson is in now. Another Irish whip. Went for that left hand. Atomic drop. Oh my, their heads cracked. You could hear it right here, right by us. Their heads cracked like a gun exploding.
You know, I think Anderson could get the pin if he was able to.
Anderson crawling out here right above us. Right here on the apron.
This is sheer athletic instinct on the part of Arn Anderson to even get up on the rope now.
He's going to try to put the dragon away. If he hits a high-risk move, he'll do it. On top. Oh, both feet. Now can Steamboat cover him? Or make the tag? Anderson is out of it. The championship of the world is on the line, and it's in deep jeopardy here. Steamboat trying to get to the corner. The tag the kid. The natural is well rested. Listen to the crowd. He's so close to the tag. And there's a tag. Dustin Rhodes on fire here. Irish whip. The lariat. Scoops up Anderson. The 21-year-old is cooking now. Tremendous right hands. A reversal by Anderson. And the bulldog. He got him. He got him with a bulldog. Steamboat in.
Oh, over the top.
I don't understand why was there a tag made?
There was a tag made.
Steamboat is a legal man. He's up on top. Anderson dazed. Crossbody press. Will he get him now? Yes, he does. We've got new champions. We've got new tag team champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners and new World Tag Team Champions, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Natural, Dustin Rhodes.
Almost 10,000 fans are standing. New tag team champions of the world have been crowned. Steamboat came off the top with a clincher. What a match.
Arn, what are your thoughts? Ricky the Dragon.
What a wonderful time in my life. A couple of things to consider. I had never met Steamboat.
I was hoping you would tell that story. You told it a few weeks back. Tell it again, please.
Well, it just, for whatever reason, he had been off the radar prior to this match for a while. That's what made the reaction so good. It was not like he was a current guy. But just for whatever reason, different territories, different times, different timing. I had never worked in the same company that he had. Never seen him anywhere. So it's not like I didn't know who he was. Of course I knew who he was and what he was and where he was established in the business and all those things. I mean, it just, our paths had never crossed. So when we locked up and backed into the ropes, I introduced myself right there.
And did he make you a believer or not? I mean, that match, that high octane pace, what first impressions did you have of him actually working with him in the ring that night?
Well, I said, locked up and started towards the ropes. I said, Arn Anderson, nice to meet you. He said, yeah. He said something like, yeah, Ricky Steamboat, nice to meet you too, or something so commonplace you would go. But our lips weren't moving. That's the difference. Nobody would have seen any of this. I said, so give me one of them big ones. And, man, he lit me up with one of those chops, and the place blew, and I went, oh, yeah, we're going to have fun tonight.
And that you did. The crowd was on their feet. I mean, you had, Ross said 10,000, obviously a little short of that, but doesn't matter. It felt like it. And that's what wrestling is about, that feeling, that hot tag when Dustin came in to clear out the ring, the 21-year-old Dustin Rhodes. And reminded me of his daddy coming in there. All that was missing was the bionic elbow. But just so much energy and, my goodness.
Well, and if you want, for the wrestling purists, if you want to go back and dissect it, go back to the hot tag. I never tagged out, so I was legal for the entire time. I think JR said, well, who's legal? Who's legal? Well,
yes, he did.
If you go back and look at it, I stayed legal for the entire time. So that took care of that.
Does it even matter at this point who gets the pin, whether it's Steamboat or Dustin?
It's better because you add legitimacy to the official.
Yeah.
But some of these days, I don't even know who's legal half the time in some of these tag matches and multi-people matches. You lose track of all that, and I don't think it's as important as even though I like the credibility of the official and making the right call, I still think don't substitute the action and the story and all the excitement wondering who's legal. I wouldn't make that swap.
Now, Steamboat had been away for 2 years. He had been in the WWF, but man, he was just kept himself in such ridiculous shape. We have our first two fan questions before we continue on, and the first one comes from Ad Free Shows member Josh Harveth, and he wants to know how excited you were to see Ricky Steamboat back in WCW.
Oh, I knew what he was, what he represented to the business, and having him there was just. If you're a heel, my God, Christmas came early. I get to work with Ricky Steamboat.
The Ryan Purvis has a follow-up question. He says, according to Dave Meltzer, Steamboat nearly didn't get to debut at Clash 17 due to a dispute with the WWF at the time. Do you know if there was a plan if Steamboat wouldn't have been able to go here?
I know there was some backstage stuff. Now, again, I didn't see him. They were locked away in separate room, and there were negotiations going on during the day. I know that, and there was somebody just said, well, it's not a complete done deal. And I don't know if it hadn't have been him, I don't know who in that locker room would have filled that spot as adequately as he did.
I don't think they could have. I don't think they would have had someone that created such buzz and had such the pop like Steamboat did.
Yeah, because it was like he was a mega star, but he had been out of the public eye for a while, so it really was a shocker.
Well, Double A, much of this clash centered around Sting and Rude. We talked about it last week, Rude making his big debut, going right after Sting. And early in the show, Lex Luger attacked Sting, and Sting had to go to the hospital. No, not a medical facility. We're calling it a hospital, all right? And then he had to rush back to defend the U.S. title. And we have it, our fifth clip of the week. We're going to look at a recap, should I say, of all that transpired here at the Clash with Sting and Rude. Let's take a look.
A little bizarre here, I can tell you. And wait a minute, there's Luger. Lex Luger just clipped Sting right in the left knee. The one he had reconstructive surgery on. It's been Lex Luger all the time, sending those gift boxes. Luger, what a dastardly attack!
Well, Lex Luger not only identified himself as the man behind the boxes, but as a result of the attack that you just saw on Sting, Sting ended up in the hospital. And while he was being examined by the doctors on staff, Paul E. Dangerously came forth with a shocking announcement regarding the contract that Sting and Rude had signed for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship match. The psycho yuppie had found a loophole. These were his comments.
Article 6. You want to get a close-up? Go right ahead. Too late. It states, and you can read it there, I'm not lying this time, should, by accident, act of God or injury, the United States Heavyweight Champion not appear in the ring by bell time, the United States Heavyweight Championship will be forfeited, and the title will be assumed by ravishing Rick Rude.
Sting was now in a battle against the clock. He had to get back to the arena in time to defend his title or risk losing his championship via an obscure clause in a contract that would force him to forfeit the match. As the world watched in amazement, despite the injury to his leg, Sting frantically raced against the clock. But the injury proved to be too much. The footage you're about to see will live in infamy in WCW.
What a
You
jerk.
see, the little stingers mean nothing to that bottle-blonde, knuckle-headed United States Heavyweight Champion. He does not care about the little children who look up to this demigod. He does not care about any of you.
Here he comes.
He cannot appear here before bell time.
Just keep talking, Paulie.
And
Get him in
if
here.
Sting does not appear in this ring by the time the bell rings, there will be a new United States heavyweight champion.
He's back. Hey, Nick, he's back. He's back here. He's back. He's back. He's here. He is here. This crowd reacting to every move the champion makes. He's fighting this match on one leg. Oh, Rude fell right into the knee. Rude fell right into the knee after coming off the ropes. And Paul, dangerously got him in the back of the head with a telephone. What a cheap shot by that big mouth jerk at ringside. This may be it, Jim. I don't think he can get up from this. Oh, this is no way. Don't let this happen. On top. I kicked out. Yeah, he kicked out. Dangerous, he thought he had him with that foam, but the Stinger kicked out. And there's a DDT. A DDT. It may be over. And Dangerous, he's up on the apron. And Rude from behind. He clipped that knee from behind, just like Luger did earlier. He's got him cradled. He's got the tights. He's got the tights.
He had the tights, and it was over for Sting as U.S. champion. Arn, I got to ask you a quick question as we continue the story here of how the group was formed. Would you, after a match like you had with Larry and Ricky, Steamboat, and Dustin, would you guys go back and kind of check out the rest of the show on monitors in the back, or no?
Sometimes.
Okay.
We would have this one because the ramifications that had on the company.
Yeah.
You know, you would want to see that for sure. Screw job on your top babyface, you want to see that and see how the audience treats it live, firsthand.
This is a fun little angle with the whole having the ambulance show up there with the last few seconds to get him into the ring. And, as we wrap up the Clash of the Champions, you and Larry are no longer tag champions. And then you got Rick Rude, who does exactly what he set out to do, obviously with all the help in the world. And that was to defeat Sting for the United States Championship. So now it seems that this decision served a couple of purposes. First, Luger revealed as the man behind the attack on the franchise. Sting slid into the spot as challenger for Luger's world title, so that automatically sets up a Sting-Luger feud now. And then second, the change gives Rude the United States title, which validates his position and gives him credibility as a heel. We always don't see this sort of instant success or push in wrestling when an established star jumps from one company to another. But from your point of view, Arn, did Rude need the push right away so that angle would remain hot? Or do you think moving in this direction immediately was good because it helped establish him with the WCW audience?
Yeah, I like him walking in day one and having an impact.
Yeah.
He was a recognized superstar already. It wasn't like he was a middle-of-the-card guy. And, the setup with Sting being behind the 8 ball right away, the booking's getting better. Let me put it to you that way.
And I do like that it looked like it literally took everything to beat Sting, right? He's the franchise. You want to make it look like that.
He's a superhero. Make him one.
Yep, and Dusty made him look strong, kept Sting strong here. He used everything, including the kitchen sink, to beat him. But 4 days after the Clash of Champions, on November 23rd, this is what we've been waiting for, Paulie Dangerously officially formed the group that collectively becomes known as the Dangerous Alliance. In our 6th and final clip of the week. By the way, I feel like we're leaving something out here. We need to figure out some Dangerous Alliance Arn Anderson merchandise. There's got to be something there. We'll figure it out. Let's take a look at the official creation of the most underrated wrestling faction in the history of this business. Hey, research guy, can you get on that? Dangerous Alliance merch. Clip 6, November 23rd, 1991. Here we go, Arn. Can't wait to watch it with you.
Ms. 007 Medusa and I were discussing this. This Thursday night in the Omni, ravishing Rick Rude will destroy what's left of Sting. But you see, Jim Ross, you're a big football fan. Now, if the New York Giants all week long were preparing for the Miami Dolphins, and the NFL said, nah, now you're going to face the Pittsburgh Steelers, would that be fair? No. See, that doesn't happen in any other sport but wrestling. I'll tell you why. Because Jim Herd and the committees and the board of directors like to give wrestlers the shaft. Two victims of this shaft have come to Rick Rude, Medusa, and I looking for legal advice because WCW says, oh yeah, forget about Barry Windham. We're going to put Ricky Steamboat in the match. And that's why they're no longer the World Tag Team Champions. Please welcome the newest members of the Dangerous Alliance, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko. Groundbreaking, isn't it? Now, this Thursday night in the Omni, the rightful World Tag Team Champions, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, Ms. 007 Medusa, myself, the Chief Executive Officer of the Dangerous Alliance, and the man that crushed the hopes of all the little stingers, ravishing Rick Rude, United States Heavyweight Champion, will have the pleasure of watching Flying Brian learn the most stunning wrestling lesson of his life, because he will step in the ring with the world's greatest athlete and newest member of the Dangerous Alliance, the world's TV champion, Stunning Steve Austin.
You're sending quite a lineup here, Paul.
It's not a lineup, it's not an army, it's not a stable, and it's not a family. It's an alliance of businessmen who will bring WCW down to its knees. You know, Jim Ross, Lex Luger, Medusa, Rick Rude, and myself were not the only people in on the plan to set up Sting. See, there was a man, very close friend of Sting's. He said, Sting, go in the ambulance and go to the hospital. You got plenty of time, man. Hey, Sting, if they're going to ring the bell for your match, don't worry about it, Sting. I'll delay the match. Please welcome one of Sting's best friends and a little stinger himself. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful Bobby Eaton. I'm looking at you and you're starting to sweat. You're starting to say to yourself, Sting and everybody else are in just a little bit of trouble. You see, WCW has had a lot of bodyguards. They've had a lot of hitmen. But they've never had a man that's so disgustingly sick that while another man holds a hand in a car door, that he would be sick enough to crunch that hand with the car door and enjoy the sound of the bone crunching. That's why Larry Zbyszko is now being called by us the Cruncher. He's the man that will step in front of the Dangerous Alliance and take care of all our dirty deeds because he's sick enough, like Oliver North, to do it. In the meantime, I'm going to show you what power is all about. WCW says, hey, no more Barry Windham. In comes Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Want to play that game with us? We're going to play it with you.
Jim Ross, let me explain something to you. Between Bobby Eaton and myself, we have held the World Tag Team titles 6 times. Nobody knows more about tag team wrestling than myself and Bobby Eaton. So in the Omni on Thanksgiving night, we're going to, here we go.
Let's keep our composure here, gentlemen. Let's keep our composure here, gentlemen. Keep your heads together now.
Let me tell you something, Squirt. Thanksgiving night at the Omni, you bring Anderson down there. You bring Zbyszko down there. As a matter of fact, Paulie, you make any substitution that you want because Dustin and I don't care. If you want these belts, you come down there Thanksgiving night and you come get them.
All right. Thanksgiving night. Let's keep our composure here.
Bobby Eaton and myself will come get them. We're going to take you and you to new heights you never believed imaginable, pal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've still got a big main event still to come. What a night it's going to be in the Omni at 8 o'clock Thanksgiving night.
Wow. That clip, Arn, went 5 minutes, and that single promo dangerously made every member of the Dangerous Alliance special and important. Paulie paid special attention to each member of the alliance, accentuating all their positives. Listen, Bobby Eaton, the final piece of the puzzle from the Clash, in classic old school fashion, Paulie kept talking about the importance of the upcoming event at the Omni, giving his WCW promo at Jim Crockett Promotions-like feel. Arn, looking back at this entire segment from almost 32 years later, what are your initial impressions after watching it?
If the push would have matched that piece of business, because it felt like, holy shit, there has been a line drawn in the sand, and it's these guys against everybody else. That's the way it feels to me watching it.
Yes, sir.
Now, if the push would have been behind it, if they would have wanted to pile some heat on some guys and sustain it for 8 months, you might have had a different company for the good.
I agree.
Prosperity would have probably been at a new level.
One of our listeners, Sean O'Neill, said it like this, Arn. Pound for pound, the most talented faction in the business, the Dangerous Alliance, should have been pushed to the moon. And, buddy, I couldn't agree more. In any era, any promotion, top to bottom, the Dangerous Alliance delivered. Think about the talent, the in-ring work, the promos, the championships. And spoiler, boys and girls, this faction lasted from Halloween Havoc 1991 to Halloween Havoc 1992, if we use the time Rude, Medusa, and Dangerously came together and then subsequently split apart. So there you go. 1 year's time, and but still talked about to this day, Arn.
Yeah, dead and gone 1 year. That doesn't seem like a long time.
No, it doesn't. Arn, that's going to wrap up our coverage for November 1991, but we are just beginning our coverage of the Dangerous Alliance, and I promise that we're going to dive in deep each week. And before we get out of there, get out of here, our show this week, we do have some questions from ad-free shows and Twitter, and so we're going to hit these, and then we're going to shut it down. Because we covered the trust Dusty had in you earlier in the show and how you were able to work with so many partners and opponents, now might be the best time to ask friend of the show, Drew Landry's question, the professor. He wants to know, Arn, during any time of your career, especially when WCW was in its lean time, did you ever think you could have led the company by being its world champion, having a feud with Ron Simmons over the title, or were you happy with where you were?
I don't think it was ever a conscious thought one way or the other, Drew. Be honest with you, I never aspired to be the world champion. I know what the company was looking for, and cosmetically I didn't fit that mold. I was just fine in the position I was in. I was always figured in a next to last, third from the last position, or it might go all the way down to, second or third match of the night. It didn't matter to me as long as I was out there with guys that I could perform and make everybody that bought a ticket glad they did.
That's always what's impressed me about you, Arn. Didn't always feel the need to be the man. You just wanted to be the man that did what he was supposed to do and wrestle well and do what you were told, right? Be a good soldier and give the fans what they want.
When a guy's leaving the show and they're walking to their car with four other guys and they're, oh man, that was great. That was it. That was this. That was that. I wanted to be the one, man, I loved that match. I love that Anderson match.
Well, Drew also wants to know, were you able to kindle a friendship with Rick Rude at all? What kind of feud or team do you think you could have had with him?
We were casual business relationship. We weren't friends, but not because there was any negatives to it. Rick was a very private guy, kind of, did his own thing. And that was Rick Rude. He was, kind of just, like I just said, he was his own cat.
Craig Bursch wonders if you think business would have been better if Rude was revealed as the Black Scorpion a year prior instead of as the Halloween Phantom.
God, I don't know. We can all say what ifs. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Hard to say. I mean, they brought him in a year later, and he went right after Sting. I mean, that's what this is all about here. So,
yeah, I mean, it worked when they did pull the trigger. So that's the only thing that really matters.
Warren Howler tweeted, "How was the idea of the Dangerous Alliance pitched to Arn?" So do you remember that conversation, the pitch? Was it a Dusty, Paulie thing?
I mean, everything, if you look at it from putting me and Larry together on, was just moving so fast. It was just like you might show up at TV and you didn't know. There was no asking our opinion or anything. They would have probably just said, hey, we got something in mind next week for TV. That's
and it
all
happened, and to your point, it just happens fast. It's within 1 week and you're doing it. And that's like 30-some years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember any, but no one would have asked us for our blessing. They would have just said, we got something good planned for you next week.
Okay.
And until we got to work, I didn't need to know a bunch of stuff in advance because I could sit down. If you give me 30 minutes, no matter what you pitched, I could figure out a way to make it work with just a 30-minute skull session with myself.
30-minute skull session, and then you're able to go out and deliver the promos like you did.
I'm a pro. You're supposed to be able to do that. That's what you get paid for.
Nick Lenz wants to know if you ever had ever met Medusa prior to the creation of the Dangerous Alliance.
Just seen her on AWA. That was it. But she was kind of ahead of her time. She was one athletic, tough chick, really was. Yeah. And good worker in the ring. Probably she'd have kicked the shit out of you if you'd have given her any guff. She was kind of ahead of her time. She was a little bit China-esque before there was China,
Yep, absolutely. Thomas J. O'Donnell asked if anyone else was considered to become a member of the Dangerous Alliance that you know of.
I have no idea.
No clue. Yeah.
I would have think that was a full buggy at that point.
Yeah, they were bringing them out there one after the other. Boink the Clown. I'm not making that up, Arn. He asked the question, when you and Larry became champions, the old NWA World Tag Belts were still being used. Did Arn notice any wear issues with the belts he had held on multiple occasions over the years?
Nothing that stood out. I'm sure they were refurbished, surely. At some point, if there was anything that needed to be fixed, I don't remember any details about wear and tear.
Brad Stanton asked, do you ever remember hearing of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat ever wanting to be a heel, Arn?
All the time. From him to me.
Really?
And I said, Ricky, it's none of my business, but it is my business because you would be making a grave mistake. Yeah, but it would be so much fun. I said, well, it would be to you, but it wouldn't be fun to the fans. And you know what? The relationship that you have with our audience, young people, grandmothers, grandfathers, all you would end up doing is just disappointing a bunch of people. You wouldn't have money drawing heat. You wouldn't have that red hot heat where they're trying to kill you. They would just be disappointed. And for what you represent as a babyface, I don't think that's what your goal would be, but that's in my personal opinion, that would be what happened.
And another guy, and the research guy brings this up, that is very similar to that to me was Ricky Morton. Every time they tried to make him heel, just didn't work.
To this day, where he's working independent shows, people still love him.
Yeah,
he's just one of those guys that has lasted the test of time.
Michael Aldridge wants to know, looking back, did Arn recognize the potential greatness in Paulie Dangerously?
Oh, yeah. He was very talented, and he was a student of the business. Paul spoke intelligently, but he still had that smarmy feel to him. And, I knew he was destined for a long, fruitful career.
All right, 3 more questions and we'll wrap it up, Arn. Francis Reyes wrote, what do you see as the main differences between the Horsemen and the Dangerous Alliance?
We were a family in the Horsemen. It really was a family. We were together all the time. And, we were a group of guys that we knew what our job was. We drove together. We worked out together. We wrestled together, ate together, drank together, the whole thing. We're like a traveling band of gypsies that were all family. The Dangerous Alliance was just a bunch of guys that got put together out of necessity at the time.
A lot of talented wrestlers, a lot of accomplished wrestlers just put together, you know.
But they weren't left together long enough to actually become a family. You got to remember, from 85 until 88, the Horsemen, you know, mostly had Tully, myself, Rick, JJ were a constant. And then we moved that other piece around a little bit. That's a long time, 3 years.
Michael Burgett asked, hypothetical main event for Starrcade in a War Games match with the Horsemen on one side and the Dangerous Alliance on the other. Which side is Arn on? And could it have been the one time Arn came into the War Games match last?
I liked first because it was a challenge. It was rough on the body, rough on the mind, rough on the blood bank in each local town where I had to go get a couple of pints put in usually. And I'd have had to stay with my family, I believe, the Horsemen.
Yeah, once you explain the difference in the family versus being put together, it's almost a no-brainer. You got to run with the Horsemen. Fun final question from R. Jacobson. Dangerous Alliance or the Bloodline? Who do you got?
Oh, it's just that family of Samoans is a tough road to go these days. And it's because they are all badasses. They are all great. They all are great performers, and they are a family. And it's, even though they have some arguments here, I see, at the end of the day, they all circle the wagons and they stick with family, and that's the same thing as the Horsemen were.
Can't count out family is what you're saying.
When it comes down to nut cutting time, they seem to always bond together.
So he's going Bloodline. Arn, that wraps us up for this week. We went a little longer, but as you can see, our fans love the Dangerous Alliance. It's an amazing faction filled with Hall of Fame talent, and I cannot wait to continue this journey with you. But next week, we're going to hit the pause button as we walk through your career, and we're going to bring back Ask Arn Almost Anything. Our listeners have the controls and always bring the heat when it comes to asking you questions, so I can't wait for that, my friend.
Give them what they want.
There you
to
go.
The best of our ability. It's like almost everything.
That's right. And we're going to do that each and every month. So continue to throw your questions out, and we have our team that goes out and grabs them for us. But, buddy, that's going to do it for this week. Again, thank you all so much for checking out the show. You can find us at arnlinks.com. That's where you're going to find our social media handles, our YouTube channel, which continues to grow. Guys, listen, even if you don't watch YouTube each and every week, just following the channel, subscribing, turning on those notifications. That is free, and it does more to help Arn and myself more than you'll ever know. So we're trying to grow our subscribers out on YouTube really this year. So if you could do that, that would really mean a lot to us, and we'd really appreciate it. And again, check us out over at boxofgimmicks.com. You're going to be able to check out shirts just like Arn's wearing. That's where you're going to find those Horseman jackets, the Horseman hats, and all the other great gear over there. And who knows, maybe soon we'll have something Dangerous Alliance themed for all our listeners that love the Dangerous Alliance. Arn, this has been a blast. On behalf of the founder, the creator, the anchor, and the enforcer, Arn Anderson, I'm Paul Bromwell, and you've been listening to Arn. We'll see you right here next week on Arn